You relapsed. Again. And now you're sitting in that familiar darkness thinking, I'm back at square one. All that progress, wasted. I'll never be free. But what if I told you that's a lie? What if square one doesn't exist? What if every single day you stayed clean, every craving you survived, every tool you learned, what if all of that is still inside you waiting? Here's what nobody tells you about recovery. It's not a ladder where falling means starting over. It's compound interest. And even when you withdraw, the interest you've already earned doesn't disappear. It's still accruing, still building, still there. The Japanese have a word for this, Kaizen. It means continuous improvement, emphasis on continuous. Not perfect, not linear, continuous. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop measuring recovery in streaks and start measuring it in small, consistent choices that add up to freedom. Even after relapse, especially after relapse. I know why you're here. You've tried to quit before, maybe multiple times. You set ambitious goals, 30 days clean, 90 days, 6 months. You white-knuckled through cravings, relied on willpower, and told yourself this time will be different. And for a while, maybe it was. You felt strong. You felt hopeful. You told yourself you were finally becoming the person you wanted to be. But then life got hard. A major trigger hit. Someone said something that cut deep. You felt overwhelmed, exhausted, or just desperately alone. And in that moment of weakness, you gave in. And now you're sitting in shame thinking, I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. Recovery requires superhuman strength I simply don't possess. Here's what every addiction program, every self-help book, every well-meaning friend tells you. You need massive change. You need to become a completely different person overnight. You need unshakable discipline and perfect execution. 30 days clean, 90 days, 1 year. These milestones become mountains you're supposed to climb in one heroic push. And when you fall, when you relapse, the message is clear. You failed. You're back at zero. Start over. But what if that entire framework is wrong? What if the pressure to achieve massive, dramatic transformation is exactly what's keeping you trapped? What if recovery isn't built through revolution, but through evolution? What if freedom doesn't require you to become superhuman, but simply to become 1% better than you were yesterday? This is what the Japanese discovered 500 years ago in their craftsmen guilds, their factories, their temples. They called it Kaizen, continuous improvement. And when you apply this ancient principle to addiction recovery, something impossible happens. Healing becomes inevitable. Not immediate, not easy, but inevitable. Because here's the mathematical truth that will change everything. 1% better every day for 1 year doesn't make you 1% better. It makes you 37 times better. That's not a metaphor. That's exponential compound interest. That's the power of small actions repeated consistently over time. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young apprentice who came to study under a master swordsmith in feudal Japan. On his first day, filled with excitement and dreams of creating legendary blades, the master handed him a rough piece of steel and a whetstone. "Sharpen this," the master said simply. The apprentice began. He sharpened all morning, his hands moving back and forth across the stone. By afternoon, his hands were cramping. By evening, he could barely lift his arms. His back ached, his fingers were raw. He looked at the blade expecting to see transformation, but it looked exactly the same as when he started. The same dull, rough piece of steel. Nothing had changed. The next morning, the master gave him the same blade. "Sharpen this." The apprentice couldn't believe it. "Master, I sharpened all day yesterday. Nothing changed. This is pointless." The master smiled, that quiet smile of someone who knows something you don't yet understand. "You think nothing changed? Look closer." The apprentice examined the blade. He turned it in the light. He ran his finger along the edge. "I see nothing, master." The master took the blade and held it up to the morning sun. you removed 3 microns of dullness yesterday. Today, you will remove 3 more. Tomorrow, 3 more. In 6 months, you will have a blade that can cut silk mid-air, but only if you sharpen it every single day. The blade doesn't transform in 1 session, it transforms through 1,000 sessions. The apprentice wanted to argue, 3 microns, that's nothing, that's invisible, that's meaningless. But something in the master's eyes told him to trust. So he sharpened, day after day after day. Some days he was tired, some days he was frustrated. Some days he thought, this is meaningless, I'm wasting my time, I should just quit. But he kept sharpening. And then one day, 6 months later, the master took the blade and threw a piece of silk in the air. The blade passed through it like water. The silk separated into 2 perfect pieces, floating gently to the ground. The apprentice stared in disbelief. His hands trembled. "When did it become sharp?" he whispered. The master smiled. "It became sharp on day 1. You just couldn't see it yet." Your recovery is that blade. Right now, you can't see the sharpness yet. You look at yourself and you see the same struggles, the same cravings, the same patterns. You think nothing is changing, but I'm telling you, every single day you choose differently, you're removing microns of addiction's grip. You can't see it. Your family might not see it. Even you might not feel it, but it's happening. The transformation is occurring at a level too small to perceive, but too significant to ignore. And if you keep sharpening, if you keep making those small choices, one day you'll look at yourself and realize, I'm free. And you won't even remember the exact moment it happened, because it didn't happen in 1 moment, it happened in 10,000 moments. But here's what you need to understand about why this works. After World War II, Japan was destroyed. Their cities were bombed, their economy was in ruins, their factories were producing garbage that couldn't compete with anyone. Toyota, one of their biggest companies, was weeks from bankruptcy. Their cars were breaking down constantly, no one wanted them, the company was dying. An engineer named Taiichi Ono was brought in to save them. Everyone expected him to announce massive layoffs, huge investments, revolutionary changes, the kind of dramatic transformation that makes headlines. Instead, he walked onto the factory floor and said something that confused everyone. I want each of you to find one small thing, just one small thing, you can improve today. The workers were confused. One small thing? That won't save us. We need massive change. We need revolution. But Ono insisted. So a worker suggested, this bolt is 6 steps away from my station. If we move it 3 steps closer, I save 5 seconds per car. Ono said, implement it today. Another worker said, this tool keeps falling off the bench. If we add a small hook here, I save 30 seconds per shift. Ono said, do it now. Day after day, workers suggested tiny improvements. Move this tool, adjust that angle, reduce this step, change that process. Each improvement was microscopic, individually meaningless. But Ono understood something they didn't. Small improvements compound exponentially. 5 seconds saved per car doesn't sound like much, but multiply that across 10,000 cars. Multiply it across 365 days. Suddenly, you've saved thousands of hours. 30 seconds saved per shift across 1,000 workers across 12 months equals an entirely new workforce worth of productivity. And here's what happened. Within 5 years, Toyota went from bankruptcy to profitability. Within 10 years, they were producing the most reliable cars on Earth. They became legendary. And it wasn't through revolution, it was through Kaizen, continuous, tiny, relentless improvement. The principle was devastatingly simple. You don't need to be twice as good tomorrow, you need to be 1% better. And then 1% better again, and again, forever.
So what does a Japanese factory have to do with your addiction? Everything. Because your brain operates on the same principle. Your recovery operates on the same mathematics. Right now, you're probably thinking you need to completely overhaul your life. New habits, new friends, new routine, new identity. And the weight of that transformation feels crushing. But what if you don't need all of that tomorrow? What if you just need 1% better today? Let me show you what I mean with real numbers. Imagine two people, both struggling with the same addiction. Both want freedom. Person A decides, I'm quitting cold turkey. Complete transformation starting today. I'm going to be a completely different person. No substances, perfect discipline, warrior mode activated. They attack recovery with ferocious intensity. And for 30 days, they're incredible. They resist every craving. They use every tool. They're the poster child for recovery. But on day 31, life gets hard. A major trigger hits. They lose someone they love, or lose a job, or just have a terrible, exhausting, overwhelming day. And they're exhausted from maintaining this perfect facade. So they relapse. And now they think, I failed. All that progress? Gone. I'm back to zero. The shame crashes over them like a wave. They spiral, and it takes them weeks to even try again. Person B takes a different approach. They learn about Kaizen. They decide, I'm going to be 1% better than yesterday. Just 1%. Day 1, instead of using 5 times, they use 4 times. That's 1 less time. 1% better. Day 2, instead of using 4 times, they use 4 times again, but one of those times they pause for 10 seconds before using. They use the witnessing technique they learned. That's progress. That's a deposit. Day 3, they use 3 times and pause twice. Still using? Yes, they're not perfect, but the trend is shifting. The compound interest is working. Week by week, month by month, the improvements accumulate. More pauses, longer delays, more tools used, fewer uses, better choices, more awareness. After 1 year, person A has relapsed 6 times and is drowning in shame. They feel like a failure. They've given up hope. Person B, they're 37 times better than when they started. Not perfect. They've had bad days. They've had withdrawals, but they're free. Because they understood something profound. You don't need to go from 0 to hero. You need to go from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to 1.01, forever. The beauty of Kaizen is this. It removes the pressure of perfection. You're not trying to be recovered tomorrow. You're trying to be slightly better than today. That's a goal you can actually achieve. That's a goal that doesn't crush you under impossible expectations. Here's where Kaizen gets really powerful, and this is something most people never understand. It makes you anti-fragile. Let me explain what that means. Most recovery programs are fragile. They're built on streaks. I have 30 days clean. I have 90 days. I have 1 year. And those streaks are beautiful. They represent real work, real growth, real commitment. But they're fragile, because the moment you relapse, the streak breaks. And your brain interprets that as, I lost everything. I'm back at square one. All that time wasted. This creates a catastrophic mindset where one mistake equals total failure. One bad day erases months of good days. And that's psychologically devastating. Kaizen recovery is anti-fragile. It doesn't break when you stumble. It learns. It adapts. It grows stronger. Here's how it works. Every choice you make is either a deposit or a withdrawal in your recovery bank account. When you resist a craving, that's a deposit. When you use the 10-second technique, deposit. When you reach out for help instead of isolating, deposit. When you practice breathing, when you go to a meeting, when you talk to someone you trust, when you choose differently even for 1 moment, deposit, deposit, deposit. These deposits accumulate, they compound, they build interest. Now, let's say you relapse. In the streak model, you've lost everything. Your counter goes back to 0. All those days gone. But in the Kaizen model, you've made a withdrawal. And yes, withdrawals hurt. They set you back. They reduce your balance. but your accumulated deposits are still there. The interest you've earned is still there. The skills you've learned, the tools you've practiced, the awareness you've developed, all of that is still in your account. You haven't gone to zero, you've just reduced your balance. And tomorrow you can make another deposit, and the day after that, another one. And slowly, consistently, your balance grows again. This reframes everything. Relapse isn't failure. It's not proof that you're weak or broken or hopeless. It's data. It's information. It tells you, this trigger is stronger than my current defenses. I need to make more deposits before facing this situation again. Or it tells you, I was maintaining but not growing. I need to increase my daily improvements. Or it tells you, I isolated myself and stopped using my tools. I need to reconnect. It's feedback, not defeat. And feedback makes you stronger. This is the anti-fragile principle. Systems that learn from damage become stronger than they were before. Now, let me teach you something that will change how you see problems forever. In traditional Kaizen philosophy, there's a principle that sounds crazy at first. Problems are treasures. When something goes wrong in a factory, when a tool breaks or a process fails, Toyota workers don't see it as a disaster. They see it as a gift. Because every problem shows you exactly where to improve. Every breakdown is pointing to the next breakthrough. This mindset changes everything in recovery. Right now, you probably see cravings, triggers, and urges as enemies, things to avoid, things to fear, things that prove you're not healed yet. But in Kaizen recovery, they're your greatest teachers. Here's why. Every craving that arises is showing you exactly where your practice needs strengthening. Every trigger is revealing which tools you need to develop. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to build resilience you didn't have before. Think about it. If you never experienced cravings, you'd never develop the skill of witnessing them. If you never faced triggers, you'd never learn how to navigate them. If recovery were easy, if you just woke up one day and never struggled again, you'd never build the strength that makes you truly unshakable. The Japanese swordsmiths understood this deeply. You can't sharpen a blade without friction. The whetstone isn't the enemy of the sword, it's the creator of the edge. Without the stone grinding against the metal, removing layer after layer, the blade stays dull forever. The friction is the transformation. So when a craving hits, instead of thinking, no, not again, this is awful, I can't handle this, try thinking, here's my opportunity. Here's where I practice. Here's where I get 1% better. Here's my whetstone. This reframes removes victimhood and restores agency. You're not being attacked by cravings. You're being given opportunities to strengthen. Let me give you another principle that sounds backwards but is absolutely critical. You actually shouldn't try to improve by 1% every single day. That's too ambitious. Instead, focus on not getting worse by more than 2%. Let me explain why this matters so much. Recovery isn't linear. Life isn't linear. Some days you're going to feel strong. Some days you'll feel weak. Some days you'll resist every craving with ease. Some days you'll barely survive. And that's not just okay, that's completely normal. That's human. The goal isn't to have perfect days every day. The goal is to ensure your worst days don't erase your progress. Think of it like this. Imagine you're at a 10 in terms of strength and tools and resilience. Tomorrow, maybe you're at an 11. Great, you grew, you improved. But the next day, life gets hard and you drop to a 9. That's okay. You're still net positive. You're still above where you started. The danger is when you drop to a 6 or a 5 or a 3 in one single day because you stopped practicing entirely. You isolated yourself. You gave up. You said, what's the point? I'm just going to use. That's when compound interest works against you.
Kaizen Recovery says, on your strong days, push for 1% better. Try a new tool, extend your practice, deepen your awareness. But on your weekdays, just don't slide more than 2%. Maintain your baseline practices. Use at least one tool. Reach out to one person. Do the bare minimum. Because maintaining is still compounding. Treading water in a current is still strength training. You're not falling. You're not losing ground. You're holding steady. And held steady enough times, you build a foundation that can't be shaken. So now you understand the philosophy, you understand the mathematics, you understand why small beats big, why continuous beats perfect, why deposits compound even after withdrawals. Now, let me give you the exact daily practice that makes this real. This is how you apply Kaizen to addiction recovery, step by step. This isn't about giant changes. This isn't about becoming a different person overnight. This is about micro actions that compound into transformation. Every morning, before your day begins, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, identify one small thing you'll improve today. Just one. It needs to be specific. It needs to be achievable. It needs to be measurable. Not, I'll be better today. That's too vague. Instead, today I'll pause for 15 seconds before making any decision about using. Or today I'll text one person when I feel triggered. Or today I'll take 5 deep breaths when a craving hits. Or today I'll drink 1 glass of water before I reach for anything else. One thing. Write it down, say it out loud. This becomes your intention for the day, your 1%. Throughout the day, every time you make a choice that moves you toward recovery, acknowledge it. This is critical. Most people only notice failures. They only see what they did wrong. Kaizen trains you to notice wins. Out loud or in your mind, say the word deposit. You felt a craving and you witnessed it instead of acting immediately? Deposit. You used the 10-second technique? Deposit. You reached out for help instead of isolating? Deposit. You went to a meeting, talked to a sponsor, used a breathing technique? Deposit, deposit, deposit. You're training your brain to see progress. And what you notice, you reinforce. What you reinforce, you repeat. Before bed, spend 3 minutes doing an evening review. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, what was my 1% today? Did I do what I said I'd do this morning? If yes, celebrate it. If no, why not? What got in the way? Second, what deposits did I make today? List them, even the tiny ones, even the ones that feel insignificant. Write them down. You'll be shocked how these small entries become a map of your transformation. In 6 months, you'll look back through your journal and see, I was moving the mountain 1 stone at a time, and now the mountain is gone. Third, what will my 1% be tomorrow? Set tomorrow's micro goal right now. Make it clear, make it achievable. And here's the most important part, the part that separates Kaizen recovery from everything else. If you relapse, here's your protocol. First, no shame spirals. You made a withdrawal. That's data, not disaster. You're a human being navigating one of the hardest things a human can navigate. Be gentle with yourself. Second, ask yourself, what triggered this? What was I feeling? What was happening in my life? What tool could I have used but didn't? Answer honestly, not to judge yourself, but to learn. Third, implement one improvement based on that answer. Just one. Maybe you realized you were isolating, so tomorrow you'll text someone. Maybe you realized you skipped your morning practice, so you'll set an alarm. Maybe you realized this specific trigger is too strong right now, so you'll avoid that situation until you have more tools. One improvement. That's your learning. That's your growth. Fourth, resume deposits tomorrow. You didn't lose your account. You didn't go back to 0. You just had a down day. Tomorrow is a new opportunity. This protocol removes catastrophic thinking. It restores agency. It reminds you that recovery is compound interest, not a ladder. You're not starting over. You're continuing forward with new information, new awareness, new tools. And here's what happens over time. The relapses get further apart. They get shorter. They get less intense. Not because you became superhuman, but because your deposits kept compounding. Your balance kept growing. And eventually, your balance is so high that even major withdrawals don't threaten your freedom. Let me come back to where we started. You came into this video believing that recovery required dramatic change, that you needed to become a completely different person overnight, that relapse meant failure and starting from square one, that without superhuman willpower, you'd never be free. But now you know something different. You know that transformation isn't built through revolution. It's built through evolution. 1% at a time. You learned that recovery isn't a ladder where falling means starting over. It's compound interest where every deposit still earns returns even after withdrawals. You learned the Japanese principle of Kaizen, continuous improvement, not perfect improvement, not dramatic improvement, continuous. Because 1% better daily for 1 year equals being 37 times better than when you started. And 37 times better? That's not incremental. That's transformation. That's freedom. That's a completely different life. You learned that problems are treasures, that cravings are training sessions, that relapse is data, not defeat. You learned that you don't need to move the mountain in one heroic push. You need to move one stone today, another tomorrow, another the next day. And eventually, you'll turn around and realize the mountain is gone, not because you're strong, because you were consistent. So here's what I want you to remember, especially on the hard days, especially when you feel like giving up, especially when you think nothing is changing. I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be healed tomorrow. I don't need superhuman strength. I just need to be 1% better than yesterday. One small choice, one tiny deposit, one stone moved. That's enough. That's more than enough, because small, repeated daily becomes extraordinary. I am not starting over. I am continuing forward, and every step, no matter how small, is taking me closer to freedom. Say that to yourself. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day, because you are not broken. You were never broken. You've just been trying to change too much, too fast, and that pressure was crushing you. So if this shifted something in you, if you see your recovery differently now, if you understand that 1% is enough, hit that like button. Not for me, for yourself. Because it tells the algorithm to share this with someone else who needs it. Someone else who's sitting in darkness, thinking they're back at square one. And if you want more of this, ancient Japanese philosophy meets real-world recovery, practical wisdom that actually works, wisdom that honors your humanity instead of demanding perfection, subscribe to Wisdom Forgotten. We're building a community here. People who are done with the all-or-nothing approach. People who understand that freedom is built 1% at a time. Leave a comment. Tell me, where are you watching from, and what's one micro improvement you'll make today? Just one. I read every single comment. Your words matter, your journey matters, you matter. And if someone you love is fighting this battle, someone who's drowning in shame, someone who thinks they'll never be free, share this video with them. Not as pressure, not as judgment, but as hope. As a reminder that they don't need to climb the mountain tomorrow, they just need to move one stone today.
Let me leave you with one final image. The Chinese bamboo tree is planted. Year 1, nothing visible. Year 2, nothing. Year 3, 4, still nothing above ground. Most people give up. They think the seed is dead. They think their effort was wasted. But in year 5, the bamboo explodes, 90 feet in 6 weeks. What happened? The first 4 years the tree was building roots, miles of roots, spreading invisible beneath the soil. And when the roots were strong enough, deep enough, extensive enough, the growth became unstoppable. Your roots are growing right now. You can't see them yet. Your family might not see them. Even you might not feel them. But they're there. Every craving you witness, every tool you use, every moment you choose differently. Roots. Deep, strong, invisible roots. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not this month, but one day soon, you're going to break through the soil. And when you do, your growth will be so explosive, so profound, so undeniable, that everyone who counted you out will stand in awe. Not because you changed overnight, but because you changed 1% at a time, every single day, for as long as it took. The compound interest is already working. You just can't see the returns yet. Trust it. Trust the process. Trust yourself, and move your stone today. Just one stone. That's all you need. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, 1% better. That's all you need. 1% better. That's enough. That's everything.